I know it's hard to believe, but there are trends that exist in the world of leadership. And one of the big macro trends that is happening already and will be visible more in upcoming years is a shift of management from control to autonomy. So when we think about manager, we instantly create a picture, right? Who is manager? It's a person who tells you what to do and controls how you did it afterwards. They reinforce the compliance, they check after you. So all of these things that we imagine. And this perception and this picture of what manager is supposed to be doing was relatively stable for quite some time. And what is happening right now is, first of all, society changes. The society gets more diverse. And the diverse society requires a more diverse and more tailor-made for them products from businesses. And to create diverse products, business needs to have diverse teams who will be creating these products. And if you have those teams and you want to make them work well, you need to give them a certain degree of freedom, because if you will tell them what to do every single time, you will not leverage their own uniquenesses and differences and experiences. So the societal shift, the macro shift, has implication on the business. What is happening right now is people in the workforce, they start to value more things like psychological safety and the trust in the team, and also decentralized management, so more flat organization versus more hierarchical organizations, where the whole point is there are more management layers that basically tells another layer what to do. People also push back things like micromanagement, and in general, they challenge the legacy norms more than before. And it has a direct implication on managers. So the figure of manager shifts from someone who controls, who tells you what to do, like this type of approach, more towards the one who enables you, who helps you do your best job in the best way possible. And one of the lovely implications of that is how managers interact with employees. There are, of course, a lot of implications. I can speak for hours only about what does this mean for a managerial job, but today I want to focus on one-to-ones. So far, I think this is one of the most complained ritual in the life of manager and employee. Actually complained from both sides, both from employees and managers. But what I hear from managers is that it's empty conversations, it's superficial, it could have been a report, stuff like that. I think I saw the articles that some CEO said that you should cut one-to-ones, and there are a lot of opinions on that. But here's my take on this. I think we learned how to tell managers that you need to have one-to-ones, but maybe we did not explain them why they need to do it and what's the whole point and how they should approach it in the best way possible. Because the tips that we were giving managers 10 and 15 years ago just doesn't work. If you will Google and if you look, it will be the list of recommendations that if you will sit in front of a, 25-year-old Gen Z, like they will just not understand you. So what I want to do today is I will give you I wasn't sure if it's five. It's 5. So 5 tips that will help to make your one-to-ones actually great and awesome and helpful for you. And for the people, you will resign from this company and they will still be like, I had a manager who actually got it, and the only one who had a good one-to-ones. So today I will equip you with that. All right, let's go. Number 1, do not check, but be available. How it used to work before. I'm telling you to come here and to report about what you've done. So from this concept, we're shifting to this is a safe space for you to talk to me and tell me if you need help with something. Sense the difference? And here's why we need this. In today's era of a growing request for autonomy, one-to-one is not a pedestal for a manager to speak from anymore. It's not your show if you're a manager. It is now more of a safe space for a person to grow, for you to coach person, to help them deal with the challenges that they have along the way with your advice and guidance. And of course, I'm not telling you that from now on you're not allowed to ask what is the status of the project. Of course not. But the thing is, I want for you to ask more questions like, Hey, what are the challenges that you are facing? Are you having too much on your plate? Is there something that I can help you with? Or what prevents you from achieving what you need to achieve? And dive deeper and ask more questions there to help person figure out and then give advice on how to deal with that. It's not taking anything away from you as a manager. It's actually the other way around. I think to a certain extent it's a mistake of the rookie mistake of people who became managers recently. So every time their employee that cannot succeed in something or something is going well, they are always jumping on and cleaning up the mess themselves. So like, you cannot do anything, let me go and do it. And this is actually this is a basic textbook mistake of someone who became a manager relatively recently. So don't do that. And it's to a certain extent easier. It is much harder to learn how to coach person to deal with these challenges themselves. Number 2 is one-to-one once a week does not mean a shallow conversation. Here's what I hear often from managers. Okay, yeah, we talk. Every time I ask in how you doing, they're answering, I'm doing all right, and that's basically it. So I'm just wasting my time on these conversations with people in my team. Maybe if you approach it like that, you do waste your time. But what I want to reframe you, how I want to reframe you is this. The shift, I want for you to shift from I am having a shallow conversations with person and it's a waste of time to I am investing into building a trusting relationship with this person. And how you will lead your one-to-ones will be very different if you shift this approach. One-to-one is a ritual to establish relationship with your employee. And to get there, you need both quality and quantity. You need to do your one-to-ones in the right way and to create this trusting environment and all of that. But also it should be a necessary quantity, meaning that you don't, it shouldn't be that you see each other once a year or like once and a half a year on a mid-year review. If you know, you know. And a good recommendation is once a month, you take a step back and you have a little bit of a deeper conversation. What are the career aspirations? What is the exchange the feedback maybe? So a little bit more of a deep dive on the things that's usually in the firefighting of the usual work you cannot find the time for. Number 3, create a space for negative emotions, for irritation, for people being unhappy with something. Here's what I mean. We can ask on one-to-ones, hey, is everything okay? And it's not a bad question, but ideally I would shift from that to something like, hey, is there something that you're unhappy about in your work? Because if the goal is to create a more trusting environment, questions like that make it easier for a person to talk about it. Because it's very easy to ask, yes, everything is fine, because this is a socially acceptable answer on the question, hey, is everything okay? So if you have this one-to-one and you have the time dedicated to this person, you may reframe how you ask about negative things. Is there something that you find challenging recently? Do you have a tension or irritation or unclarity in your work? Because when you name it in a way, I personally find that it's so much easier for a person to start talking about it and be more vulnerable and open with you. And through that, you will learn it and you will have a higher chance to actually help them. I'm actually thinking that in many companies, there is a culture of all of this, everything is okay. And people sometimes even take pride in that. So the responsibilities, everything is always okay, everything is always perfect. Although it's impossible for everything to be perfect, and it's actually good when you talk about things that are not going well. For example, my hard skill background, apart from tech, is project management, and there is this concept of project management greenwashing. It's basically when you show in all of the reports that everything is green and awesome, until the very, very last step where no one can already do anything, everything is a disaster, and you're like, bye-bye, you left the company already. So I don't really like this approach. And I think that the more we change the language that we use, the more we have things like, there is this concept of fuck up Fridays or like fuck up events when everyone just gathers around and shares the most miserable failures that they had in their life. So the more we have things like that, the more it makes easier for everyone to talk about it, because this is how imposter syndrome also works. We don't see how others are failing, and we see that everyone is always having it perfectly, and because of that we ourselves struggle to talk about things that we maybe would need help. So this is my ask for you. The questions about how people are doing is nice, and it's good, and it's a great question, but try to reframe it to make it easier for the person. More of, what's the challenge? Something like that. Number 4, and this one is hard for me personally, but we need to build trust on adult partnership and not likability. We want for our people to like working with us, but I want to reframe you from this to, I want to be a partner that you can trust. And this is so much more important than this likability stuff. You can have the most positive, cheerful, awesome relationship and dynamic with your employee, but they won't trust you enough to approach you when they're actually going through a tough time. And it is so painful, and I so wish it would be different, but it's not. We all social creatures, we want to be liked, especially when we have people who rely on us, the teams that we're kind of bringing together. It really helps, and it makes us as managers feel very good when we know that people like working with us. But I'm not saying that this is not important. It is indeed important. But if you choose where to put your focus on in building the relationship where your employee would like you, or building a relationship where your employee would trust you, please, please, please choose the second one. Because if you will not have the second one, your employee will not be able to tell you, I don't think I am up for it. I think I cannot do this. I need help. They won't be able to tell you, I disagree with you, or that's not what I want to do, right? All of this important, but very sometimes hard to voice over things, employees don't say to the ones that they like. They say it to the ones that they trust. And to do that, a single one-to-one is of course not enough. It comes with the consistency, with the quality, good quality one-to-ones that you have with the person, with you being vulnerable, them being vulnerable, you actually keeping your words and helping where you promise to help after you ask where they need some help. And with all that, with time, you're getting to the point where people feel safe enough to talk to you even about things like that. And remember that relationship is investment. You can have one conversation that is kind of meh, but the next one maybe will be better. So consistency, empathy, and transparency is your investment money in this case. And finally, ask feedback about yourself. We managers are so obsessed with the culture of feedback, how to give feedback the right way for people to actually listen. All of that, you will find all kinds of videos about how to give feedback. But I did not see a lot of managers who would actively ask feedback about themselves, not from their peers, not from their managers, but from their employees. So with the number 5, I give you with that. Please recall, when was the last time you asked your employees about the feedback about yourself? And if you didn't do it for quite some time, please go and do this, because they have valuable insights. You need to trust them. It will contribute to your personal growth, I promise you. And with that, I'm going to finish my tip. I will go and walk with the dog, and you go and write me something in the comments, because this is a nice thing to do. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you in my next one.